Patents can be granted for inventions that are new, involve an inventive step, and are susceptible of industrial application. We already spoke about novelty, and the industrial application is generally straightforward. But what is the inventive step? According to the European Patent Convention, an invention shall be considered as involving an inventive step if, having regard to the state of the art, it is not obvious to a person skilled in the art. The person skilled in the art, also known as skilled person, is a virtual person taken as a reference. He is not a scientist, but an ordinary practitioner. He has access to all items of prior art that have been made available to the public before the date of filing. He can try to solve a technical problem, putting together different solutions found in different documents, normally not more than 2, but he has no imagination or creativity, and he is captive of established prejudices in his field. Nationality makes no difference because knowledge is available everywhere. If the technical field of the problem and the solution are different, the skilled person is an expert in the field of the problem. So, when writing a patent application, the technical problem to be solved should be formulated in such a way that it does not contain pointers to the solution, in order to avoid an ex post facto view of the inventive step. Common general knowledge is represented by handbooks or textbooks, and it is always available to the skilled person to try to solve a technical problem. The European Patent Office has developed a well-defined procedure to establish the presence of an inventive step, starting from documents comprised in the state of the art, the so-called problem-solution approach. The problem-solution approach consists of 3 main steps, which may be further subdivided. The first step is identifying the closest prior art, which means the document which represents the most promising starting point for an obvious development in the direction of the invention. The closest prior art should belong to the same or very close technical field of the invention, and it should require the minimum modification to arrive at the claimed invention. The second step is establishing the objective technical problem in view of the closest prior art. The objective technical problem is determined starting by the distinguishing features of the invention over the closest prior art. The distinguishing features have certain technical effects. The objective technical problem is to obtain the technical effects provided by the distinguishing features. Depending on the selected closest prior art, the technical problem may be different. The third step is trying to solve the objective technical problem using the teaching of a further prior art. If the teaching of more than 2 documents is necessary to solve the objective technical problem, it could be a proof of non-obviousness. Using an equivalent, for instance a spring instead of an elastic piece of rubber, is not considered inventive. For sake of simplicity, we can assume that an equivalent is a different object performing substantially the same function of another one in substantially the same way to yield substantially the same result. Let's make some examples of solutions which are not considered inventive. Using a different material for its known properties, adding a feature which has no technical function, shifting a known technique to a different field unless some difficulties in applying the known technique to the new field have been overcome or some surprising effect has been revealed. Sometimes the solution to a problem is considered inventive even if trivial and obvious once the problem has been identified. This is the case of a problem invention. An example is when a device does not work. Identifying the problem may not be simple at all, but the solution may be very simple after the problem has been identified. According to the so-called Could-Would approach, an invention is not obvious if the skilled person could have arrived to the solution claimed by modifying the closest prior art, but he would not have done so because he could not expect that such a modification would have solved the objective technical problem. So, for the solution to be obvious, the second prior art document must point at the solution of the objective technical problem. Of course, the topic of inventive step could be discussed in greater detail, and for those who are interested in doing so, I suggest to look at the guidelines of the European Patent Office.